everyone. Mr. Lesham is here. And we are... Finn actually anticipated exactly what we're going to do. We're doing reflections. Okay? I think we did that last year. So I guess it's just repeat, but maybe we're also adding in the logs and all that stuff. So I've got a function, and that function could be anything. It could be exponential, it could be a log, it could be linear, quadratic, whatever. And I'm going to start messing around with it, okay? So I'm going to have another function we'll call h of x, which is basically the same f, but everywhere I have x, I'm going to put a minus x. I'm going to replace x with minus x. So if, for example, let's say I have here x equal 2, the f of x will be f of 2, so f of 2 is, let's say, equal to 3. Okay? So in my new function, the rate function, okay, what will give me 3? Not 2, but minus 2. Okay, so my new function, okay, my new h, okay, if I put minus 2, then the answer will be f of minus 2 will be 3. Okay? Or not fh. Okay? So what I'm doing here really, I'm reflecting this function, reflecting this line over the y-axis. Okay? So I'm going to get something like that. Okay? It's going to be reflected along the y-axis. Going from x to minus x, if you think about it, you basically swap things around along the y-axis. I'll pause here. We can do another reflection by replacing the y with minus y. What does that mean? What kind of idea? Green. So let's make up another function. We'll call it g of x. Okay? Right? Yes. So g of 2, let's say g of 2 is equal to f of minus 2. G of 2 is basically equal to minus f of 2. Okay? I know it sounds a bit complicated, but what I'm saying is that f of 2, instead of being equal to 3, the new function is going to be equal to minus 3. Right? So g of 2 is not equal to 3, it's going to be equal to minus 3. So what am I doing to the graph now? I'm reflecting it over the x-axis. I'm flipping it this way. Okay? By going from x to minus x, I reflected it over the y-axis. By going from y to minus y, I'm reflecting it over the x-axis. Okay? I know it's very hazy right now. We're going to look at a solid example, then it will make more sense. Right, so that was just a general discussion. Now we're looking at an example. So they gave us two functions, f and g. Okay? F is a linear function, minus 2x plus 8. G is a parabola. Okay? Let's just draw f for now. F, is it going to be a decreasing or increasing line? It's decreasing, right? It's going to be something like that. Okay? And what they want, and I wrote it exactly as they wrote in the book, determine the equation of a h. What is h? It's the reflection of f in the y-axis. So in other words, I'm just going to draw it. This is my f, okay? My h is reflection over the y-axis. In other words, it's like that. I want you to be aware of why that is, okay? So if I'm reflecting it around the y-axis, it looks like that. And I want to write down what the h of x is. So unfortunately, I erased it, okay? But hopefully you remember. What does it mean? How do I reflect something in the y-axis? What do I have to do? Okay? Remember, we have two options. The first option is take x and turn it into minus x. The second is take y and turn it into minus y.
Yeah.
So what becomes minus here?
What becomes minus?
Yeah, what am I doing? Is this the reflection or is this the reflection? Reflecting over the y-axis. Am I taking x and turning it to minus x?
Yes.
Correct.
100%.
So you gotta remember, it's kind of like the opposite in a way. So I'll write it down here, okay? Reflection. I'm running out of space. In y-axis is that. That's reflection in y-axis. X to minus x, okay? So I'm basically going to take that, and every place I have an x, I'm going to write minus x. So it's going to be minus 2, instead of x, I'm going to write minus x, plus 8. In other words, h of x is going to be 2x plus 8. Okay? Just going to check that I've got it right. Yeah. Okay? And by the way, look, if this is the g, I know this is the g. It does make sense now. Okay? Alright, they missed a little bit. Sorry guys, it stopped. Hopefully you'll figure out what happened. Okay? I'll just repeat the important thing. If I want to reflect a line over the y-axis, everywhere it says x, I now must put minus 8. So in this case, I'll go 2x plus 8. Are we happy with that? Okay. Now, taking it, okay, what is y converted to minus y? What kind of reflection is this? Reflection in what x-axis? You're right. So it's like the opposite. When you're messing with the y, basically reflecting along the y-axis. When you're reflecting along the y-axis, you're messing with the x. Okay? Now, they wanted to reflect G. Oh, sorry, they wanted to reflect, yeah. They wanted to, hang on.
Top G.
That shouldn't have been G. That should have been S. Sorry. Okay? So, S, okay? Alright, now.
If you did S,
It's another fact. So, like we had H here, H is the reflection of F in the y-axis. Now they told me that S is the reflection of G in the x-axis. Okay? So I'm going to just make a new line because I don't want to have too many lines here. Okay? Let's try and plot G. Okay? What does G look like? You can tell me. What does G look like?
G's a parabola.
It's a parabola, smiley or sad?
Smiley.
Smiley, and it goes from the origin, right? Because I don't have a plus something. Okay? So that's G. What would S look like if it's a reflection on the x-axis? Okay, what is reflection? This is the x-axis, right? It's upside, so you see that, okay? So the S is a side face, reflecting over the axis. So if I want to reflect it over the axis, what do I have to do? Everywhere there is a y, I'm going to write minus y.
So it would be minus 3.
Correct. Now, the question while I was waiting for somebody to say, sir, there's no y here.
So there's no Y.
There's no y here. Thank you, Jay. But there is a g of x is y. So I'm going to write, so this is A first of all. B. Okay? This is y equals 3x squared. Now if I want to reflect it over the x-axis, so instead of y I'm going to write minus y equals 3x squared. And therefore, what? I want to get rid of that minus, so I'm going to write y equal, right? Then it says minus 3x squared. And if I want to be really meticulous, I can say g of x, not g of x, S, sorry, s of x equals minus 3x squared. Basically, guys, whenever you're swelling it around the x-axis, you're basically multiplying by minus 1, isn't it? It's the same function, you just slap in the minus before. Okay, that's probably the easiest way of thinking about it. Let's pause here. Guys, so that was actually quite easy, and that was really last year level. Now we push it a little further. So I've got a function, f of x equal a to the power x. Okay, this on this. Okay, and I'm told, I don't know what a is. At this point, a is some kind of unknown. But I know it's going through the point minus 2, 25. Let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, minus 2, 25. So this is a certain point, minus 2, 25. They're also telling me, see, the difficult thing in this question, like more matric kind of level question, there's a lot of information. They tell me that there's also a G. A G is a reflection of F in the line x equals 0. Do me a favor at this point, just ignore this. You're right. But ignore this at this point, okay? So in the beginning, you just read, let things there, don't freak out. Next, they're asking me determine A. You actually don't need this to determine A. How would I use this to find out A? I want to know what
substitute.
You substitute. All right. So what would I substitute? What
The
would
whole
I-
thing, the whole thing.
25 equals
25. That's the y equal A to the power
minus 2.
minus 2. Okay. Can you see that? All right. Now there's a couple ways of thinking about it. I think the best way is doing it like this. 25. What is a to the power minus 2? What is a negative exponent?
It's a over 2.
I'm not sure.
You should be sure. It's 1 over a
Power 2. Power 2.
a to the power of 2. Come, Jake. Come on.
Okay.
Alright? So what I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah.
do now, I'm going to push the a squared to this side. A squared equal 1 over 25, right? Okay? Don't forget the basic stuff, because this is basic stuff. So a equal to?
Square root plus 125.
Yeah, but we always going to choose the positive in this case. Well, yeah. We always, yes, we're always going to choose the positive here. So I'm just going to share with you. So Oli said, hang on, sir. You said it's plus minus square root 5. You're right, but when we work with exponential function, if you remember way back in grade 10, we said that this number we're always going to pick the positive. Okay? So strictly speaking, you're right, it could be negative, but we are just using the positive. So a fifth. Okay? Determine the value of a, sorted. Are we happy with that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Next thing, they want us, I'm just going to erase this to give us some more space. So we found that a is a fifth. Okay? And maybe now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, okay, f of x is a fifth to the power of x. Okay? Because I know what a is now. Okay? Next thing, they're asking me, okay, g of x. Now they're bringing this g. Okay? Maybe before, to be able to visualize it, let's draw the lines. So now we know what f is. What does f look like? We already had a function like this. What does the graph look like?
Less than 1, so we're going down.
It's landing. Okay? That's f of x. Okay? Now g is the reflection of f in the line x equals 0. Okay? Finn already figured it out. They didn't tell us it's a reflection over the y-axis or x-axis. Sometimes they'll make your life a bit more miserable. You need to know that x equals 0 is this line. This is the line x equals 0. In other words, it's the y-axis. So in other words, the reflection is going to look like this, right? I'm reflecting it. Let's use a red one. Okay? Reflection over the x-axis, y-axis will be like this. Yeah? Reflect like that.
100%.
Okay, great. So that's in itself also an exponential function, right? That looks like an exponential just taking off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now they're telling me like this, look, if g of x equal b to the power of x, determine b. Okay. Let me just get you think a little bit. Talk over here. Okay, so because they're telling us it's a reflection on the y-axis, remember, how do we do a reflection of the y-axis? We go from x to minus x. That's how we do a reflection over the y-axis, right?
So
We're
you're
just going to remember. So we're going to sub. We're going to say, look, g of x, which I know is b to the power of x. I don't know what this b is. Basically, put minus x. Instead of x, I'll put minus x here. Okay? Because g of x, I'll write it down, is basically f of minus x. That's how I achieve reflection over the x-axis. Okay? Over the y-axis. Sorry, I just slap in a minus x instead of the x. I'll write it down here. So I'm going to say, what is g of x is b to the power of x is equal to a half to the power of minus x.
Oh.
Okay? Fifth, because I know f is fifth to the power of x. But if I want to do a reflection over the y-axis, I must put a minus x. We happy with that?
Because,
Okay. Now, how do I solve that?
for x.
Oh, you substitute. Oh, can't you substitute?
Those are, I mean, they're the same.
So Simon, remember that normally the way we solve these things, we're gonna make sure it's the same base, and then we know the exponent the same. But there's never, don't know what b is, so I can't make it the same. But the exponents are all similar. Okay, so I want to make sure it's going to be power of x. How I'm going to turn that to the power of x?
Down, it's 5.
Okay, well I gotta remember that. Yeah, what did you say? What is the fifth? It's 5 to the power of.
Oh, a fifth.
No.
What is the
No.
fifth? 5 to the power of
Negative 1.
negative 1. And all that I
That's
still
to the
need
power
to power minus x, right? And then I can say, okay, b to the power x. What do I do now? What is 5 to the power minus 1 power minus x?
5.
I'm multiplying, in other words, power x.
Go ahead.
Okay, and now it's the same exponent, therefore I can drop the exponent. Okay?
Yeah.
B equal 5 like Simon said. Okay? So this is g of x, okay? I'll write g of x is actually 5 to the power of x. Okay, I'll pause here. The next question looks really complicated, but once you understand it, then it's extremely easy. So I'm not gonna write because we're running out of time. They're telling us, you can look at it in the book. It says, where is it? Determine the coordinate of P prime, P little line. And P prime is the image of P on G. Now, I know if you read for the first time, you don't know what is going on, so I'll help you out. This is P, okay? This is the point P. For the point P is minus 2, 25. Now, they want us to find point P prime. And P prime, okay? Point P prime, it says, is the image of P on G. Basically, what they're saying is, it's the equivalent to the
P
point
on
on this one. Sorry, that was, sorry. That was P.
Yeah,
That was minus 225. That's my original point. And that's the reflected point. Okay? Right? So the question are, what are these numbers? Okay? You're right. Well, I'll try and explain. So what does it mean that this is the image of that point? It's basically if you reflect that point over the y-axis, you're going to get the... And then if you understand that, then there's no calculation, okay? If this is minus 2, okay, that means this is going to be 2. And if this is 25, it's still the same one, it's 25, okay? This whole graph, this red graph, is basically the green graph reflected over the y-axis. So if I look at a specific point, minus 225, that will become, on the new graph, 225. Okay? I'll stop here. We'll finish this question next lesson.